This is the Wait For It podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wait For It podcast. I'm your co-host, Phil Barrera, aka Phil the Filipino.
And I'm your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty, and for this edition of Late to the Party, a year ago we were introduced to prime Julia Roberts in a little film that we might talk about occasionally here on the podcast called Pretty Woman. And ever since then, the next logical choice was the film that we're going to be covering today. Arguably, an even bigger role for prime Julia Roberts. The movie we're going to be covering today is Erin Brockovich.
Yeah, 1990s, early 2000s, Julia Roberts had a understandable and valid hold on society, on Hollywood, and pop culture in general. And, Eric and I had been seeing, of course, a lot of clips in regards to this film on social media, whether it be Reels or on TikTok. And we were like, yeah, this is definitely going to be the next one that we cover. And as we make our way through the Julia Roberts film list, maybe we're just going to be a Julia Roberts podcast and we rebrand the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes here today, but very excited to talk to everybody about this film. Very, very late to the party as this movie came out in 2000. So we'll get into that here in just a moment, but want to welcome in everybody to this month's episode of Late to the Party. If you want to know where you can keep up with everything Wait For It podcast related and everything we're doing in the month of March, which is very busy, make sure you stick around to the very end of the episode. We'll let you know where you can find all of that. But let's head to Letterboxd for our synopsis. Erin Brockovich, released in 2000, directed by Steven Soderbergh. The tagline here: she brought a small town to its feet and a huge company to its knees. A twice-divorced mother of three who sees an injustice takes on the bad guy and wins. With a little help from her push-up bra, Erin goes to work for an attorney and comes across medical records describing illnesses clustered in one nearby town. She starts investigating and soon exposes a monumental cover-up. Eric, going into this movie, I, of course, knew of this generational role when it came to Julia Roberts. It's very highly regarded as one of her, if not her best performances. Did not know going into it, and I guess maybe I probably could have guessed this because it is like a quasi-courtroom drama kind of thing. Didn't know that this was based on a true story. Didn't even know Erin Brockovich was actually a real person. What did you know about this film other than what we had seen, of course, as I mentioned, on social media before we got into it?
Yeah, so I didn't really know much about the plot either, especially based off of some of those clips. I could tell she did something in the law space, right? How she gets there, definitely did not see that coming. What she does there, did not see that coming. But, the one thing that I also kind of really quickly caught on was her personality specifically and her very foul mouth. Which we're going to talk about, and I really think was pretty endearing to the character and made me really enjoy the movie more. What I didn't know was the story that it's based on and what she's actually set out there to do with these families. And, Phil, I'm just really glad that we don't live in, that fictional world where places just don't get clean water to drink from. Like that type of dystopia, I couldn't even imagine it.
There's definitely no people out there right now still suffering from some sort of corporation taking advantage of them. Thank goodness all that's done. 26 years ago, that doesn't happen anymore.
not the year of our Lord 2026. No, sir. That was one thing that didn't catch me off guard was her specifically in the character, but the story definitely was something that I did not know about going into it and was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I don't watch a ton of the films that are, based off of the true story. We've talked about this with like sports films, like you just know how they are going to end. But whenever things are done correctly and it's done in an interesting way, obviously there are definitely exceptions to that rule there on my end. So let's get to our takeaways. We will jump into the most important one, most likely, which is going to be Julia Roberts' performance. That's the whole reason we watched this movie. Of course, we were so endeared by her when it came to Pretty Woman and this powerhouse of a actress who, again, as I mentioned, was like the leading lady around this time when it comes to Hollywood. And like I mentioned, probably considered one of her strongest, if not her strongest role, one in a Academy Award for Best Actress. Her charisma is just radiating off of the screen. She's also incredibly vulnerable. The attitude that you're talking about here, Eric, which I'll leave to you to discuss, is really, really great. And also acknowledged by the real life Erin Brockovich, is spot on as far as the way that she dressed, the way that she carried herself. All of that, I think she was a really great vessel. I say a vessel because, I mean, it's a real person, but like it was great to have this character in the space of where, you know, there's a lot of legal jargon and things going on that are way above our heads. To have a person here that is just like, cut the shit, just let's just find out what is happening. And Julia Roberts just does an outstanding job in this role, unsurprisingly.
When I think of Pretty Woman, right, and we're going to do, unfortunately, some comparisons because we're not the biggest Julia Roberts fans. As we've mentioned, we just started really getting to know more about prime Julia Roberts in pop culture. I'd always heard of that movie and this one, and when we saw Pretty Woman, I mean, she's such a powerhouse in that movie, but she's opposite Richard Gere, and I think they play off of each other so nicely that that type of chemistry on screen really popped out. And I don't want to say overshadowed her performance solely, but, you know, it was more of a tag team effort. It's more of a rom-com, right? This is definitely that type of movie that I could acknowledge is like a leading lady, one-person show type of thing. Not that she's the only character in the movie, and we're going to talk about some of those side characters, those reoccurring male characters especially, but I think this was one that was really well suited for her. Because of what I saw in Pretty Woman, like I had no doubt that she could bring enough energy to the role to keep me interested in just her alone, which is really crazy. Again, going from that tag team movie where she's equally great, I just had no doubt coming from that strong performance, knowing she'd probably knock this out of the park, and she does. I mean, she's got such a personality on here, and for what she's given in the length of the movie, we get to see a little bit of what got her to be this way. We can see how she got to be this way. And yeah, it just really, really worked. I mean, the quotes for this movie, Phil, quotes for fucking days. I know one scene that I definitely saw excessively on TikTok was that first scene where she's meeting George and she's talking about, you know, how many numbers you got. And she goes through that entire like list of just dialogue. And that's just really strong. And I think a lot of the writing here is really strong when it comes to that dialogue. Really, really funny. And then of course, anytime, you know, that's all you got, lady. 2 wrong feet and fucking ugly shoes. It's just it's so good. But I will say the one scene that really like solidified it for me was when she, you know, and obviously spoilers for this longer, you know, later to the party type of movie, but when she's getting fired, quote unquote, and the person behind her's pissing her off and she's like, I'm not talking to you, bitch, get out of my face. And it was just like, I vibed with her so fucking much. I was like, from that moment on, she could do no wrong. Like, I loved her.
Yeah, seeing that type of just really strongly written character, and again, like I said, the real Erin Brockovich was like this. You know, they said that they got her portrayal very, very accurate. Seeing that this type of brash and just foul-mouthed woman, of course, in like an office space, I'm sure was like very shocking at that time, and it would have been very interesting to be a fly on the wall for the real Erin Brockovich carrying herself in those type of instances. So yeah, not surprised whatsoever that this was that she absolutely knocked this out of the park. I did just kind of get a little curious to see who the other nominees were when she did win her Oscar for this. So the other nominees were Joan Allen for The Contender, Juliette Binoche for Chocolat, Ellen Burstyn for Requiem for a Dream, and Laura Linney, You Can Count on Me. I haven't seen any of those other films, but yeah, it's this was a landmark performance for her, and it is interesting that like the order in which we did, I feel like Erin Brockovich might be the first watch for some people, but we went Pretty Woman first, which I'm not mad about. But yeah, she was 100% outstanding, and I'm sure incredibly deserving of that role. Let's get to the next takeaway. Oh, actually, no, that was my first takeaway. Eric, so what was yours?
No, I think we were tag teaming that one. I think I just assumed.
Not tag teaming Julia Roberts. Hold on.
I wish.
I mean,
respectfully.
Julia.
Respectfully. I would have folded if I was the guy, the same dude that let her in the back. I would have folded too. 100%. I would have folded too.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. So, I would have given her whatever she needed, ousted whoever I needed to oust, and it would have been. It wouldn't even been a question. So,
yeah. No, I just assumed you lobbed that one up. The way you lobbed it up, I thought you knew, like, obviously we're both probably going to have a lot to say about Julia. So, yeah, that's I think that's probably our main one we're going to combine together.
Yeah. Well, second takeaway, let's talk about this one because I think it could go either way. Now, one, again, like you talked about the runtime here. How long is this movie, Eric? It is 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours, 2 hours and 11 minutes. So there is an incredible simplification of what happened in the real case. And I think that is probably a good thing for movie audiences, especially in something like this. You're talking about the year 2000. People are still kind of like turning a blind eye to a lot of corporate, not espionage, that's the wrong word, but like, corporations doing the wrong thing. Corporations are our friend. They want to take care of us. What do you mean? They sent us to the doctor. Everything is fine. And I think some people maybe didn't like that in terms of like the oversimplification of what actually happened here with real people. But at the same time, it has to be accessible in terms of a legal drama. This was not a courtroom drama like we just watched Anatomy of a Fall, right? That's not what Erin Brockovich is, and it's not what I wanted it to be, right? So I think in terms of finding a middle ground, that's why you have to kind of like simplify what actually happened here. And then if you feel like you want to go ahead and look into more of what's happening, then you can do that. It empowers you to do that. It gives you just enough, I think, to kind of research it on your own. So I think it was easy to follow, even if you don't necessarily care about legal dramas, lawyers, let's be honest, lawyers aren't the most rose-scented people on earth either. I think, again, it was putting Julia Roberts in here at this time, America's Sweetheart, and then making it a very accessible type of quote-unquote legal drama was the right call. But I could also see like some people being a little frustrated with, because Erin is the driving force of this film. Maybe it's the name of the freaking movie, and maybe some people were like, well, there are actual people here that got affected, and some people, maybe didn't like that, but I thought it was the right call. Interested to see what you think.
Yeah, it's tough because like I do think they could have spent a little bit more time with the families, but I think they did just enough that I cared about that side of the film. My second takeaway is kind of the other half of that coin. Is I actually think the time spent with the families, because there's so many of them, I think they did that well enough to make that work at the sacrifice of the relationships with some of the side characters. I mean, we really don't get to see Erin Brockovich with her family. Like, there's a little bit of nods to this like relationship with her son and some of the tension there. That's not really played out, to be honest. And again, I don't know if they wanted to go fully for accuracy or if they were interested in taking any creative liberties. I probably would have reduced the amount of kids to just one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the other kids were pretty much just background noise for what was going on to make it seem like a much tougher situation. I think it could have worked with one, maybe kid. And then the other character, obviously, in that same circle is George. Aaron Eckhart is fun.
Fucking terrible wig, man. Just a bad wig.
Bad wig. Bad wig, for sure.
And listen, two guys that really don't know a lot about hair, right?
At all.
Okay, but we need to spot a bad. When we can spot a bad wig, there's a problem.
There's a problem. But bad wig aside, like, I don't think it's anything against Aaron Eckhart, because I actually kind of liked the demeanor of his character and the difference between him and Aaron. But yeah, it was just like, I don't think there was enough development of their relationship either. Whether his relationship to the kids, his relationship to her, for me to care that much about that kind of little side plot that started to develop. So yeah, that's kind of my my answer to yours, segueing into my second take, which is, again, I do think that they made it work from the legal aspect with the families as best as they could without this being a 3-hour film. But I think what they did, even though it was serviceable, was at the sacrifice of maybe some more interesting side characters that would normally be explored in a movie like this traditionally.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the whole thing with George, like you said, is because it is so undercooked that maybe that's even the part you can get rid of, and then someone is just watching the kids, whether it be an offhanded, yeah, my boyfriend watches them, or he's with them. It just seemed like it was going to be so much more of a integral part of her struggle, and we see her. We see the kids being affected, specifically, like you said, the son. And it's all kind of tied up when he just happens to read, some of the court documents that are there. All that is kind of wrapped up nicely in a bow. Again, spoiler alert, because the movie's been out for 26 years. Come with me to go tell this family how much money they won and see all the good that she did. Like all of that, because again, all of it prior is so like half baked. Then honestly, I wouldn't have been upset.
Yeah, I would have been pissed if I was that family. I see George with a stupid ass fucking smile there. Don't fucking smile.
With it, it's like, is that guy wearing a wig?
Is that even your real hair?
I love the just really quick scene too when they're at that, like, I don't know, some sort of a picnic or something, like a big corporate picnic or whatever, and Aaron Eckhart sees the guys riding by in the motorcycles and he's like, oh. Man, I missed the road. You made that choice, brother. What are you talking about?
at least you get to ride yours. Stuck with mine.
Strip George of any personality because he was like, yeah, I'll watch the kids.
Sure. It was very funny because like he very much was like, yeah, like I'm totally not doing this to get in your pants, and then he did, and then he stuck around. So good, still good guy.
And then he never. I mean, I understand that he said he was financially set, which is great for him, but like he never ever once had to go work. Like even if it's just one job during that whole time frame. This is like a year. This story takes place over like the course of a year, right? Well, years actually, most likely.
Well, yeah, because keep in mind, like when we get to the part, and I like the scene, it just didn't have enough substance to make it work. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, is the scene where he has the ring, necklace,
earrings.
I forgot, earrings. Thank you. I was like, the second I said ring, I was like, that's not right. So the earrings, and he's like, I was going to give these to you the next time you said something nice. Do you know when that was? 6 months ago.
Yeah, months ago.
And, 6 months is a long time. And I'm like, at that point in the movie, one, I was like, oh, I didn't even know that much time had passed just with your relationship. Two, you guys haven't given me like even a smidge of like, you guys were, oh, okay, I'm going to use you to, since you want to help, I'll use you. Now we're going to kind of get together. And then the next thing you know is like maybe a scene or two here. And then the next thing you know is they're having troubles. Like it just didn't flow very well. And again, there's a lot this movie is juggling. It all works because Julia Roberts is amazing. That's why she was our first takeaway. That's why she won an Academy Award for this. But yeah, I mean, it just isn't enough to, as a film, cover up some of the holes that I usually see a mile away.
Yeah, there's also the plot of like somebody calling and threatening her. That's never, nothing ever really comes of that.
No,
either.
other than she has the conversation with the guy at the shop.
Yeah,
and kind of says like, I know you put that person up to it or something like that, or of the name
what likely
issues.
happened is like somebody pressed him for information. He just gave it up because that guy, let's be honest, had no spine
at all.
So
he started letting the kids
guy,
in there.
Who is that? Also, we're just saying that guy. He is in a lot of other stuff.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. What was his name?
The girl that played Brenda, the one that was getting cussed at, is the only. It's sad because I know she's been in a lot more. But I was like, oh, that's the lady from 2.5 Men.
2.5 Men. Yeah.
So
listen. There is also one part where Erin calls her Krispy Kreme, and that I felt like that was pretty fucked up.
A little bit.
We never got a scene where Erin apologized either. I was like, oh, I thought we were going to revisit that eventually.
No,
she just didn't show up again. I don't think after that.
No, at least she quit.
Yeah, I'd probably quit and kill myself. To be honest.
she got bullied.
Christ.
Yeah, no idea what the actress name is, but there's some other like bit parts here. There's really only one other prominent role, which will probably be my third takeaway. So I'll leave that for a minute. But yeah, no, I mean, a couple bit parts, nothing too crazy. So I didn't really focus on a lot of the names that were coming up.
Yeah. And last takeaway here for me, as we turn the corner, is just, you know what? I just like a good David versus Goliath story. You know what? The corporation, bad, fighting for the little people good. Again, we already talked about the oversimplification of what actually happened here, and there is a lot. I watched a couple of videos about what happened, and there's a whole thing about how much the law firm got paid out. And remember, in the movie, they say if he wins, he gets 50%. They got 50%. They got a lot of money. So think about the number that they won. Cut that in half. I'll just leave it at that. But a good David versus Goliath story is, it's empowering, it's satisfying. I watched a crime drama a couple of years ago, Eric. I don't know if you remember me mentioning this. It's called The Burial, and it was with Tommy Lee Jones and Jamie Foxx. It was a straight-to-streaming Amazon movie, and that gave me a lot of really good feelings too. Also based on a true story, and really good. Like, I never thought I would see Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones in a movie together that wasn't like Men in Black or something like that, or like whatever, some kind of sci-fi film. But like, that was also really good, again, based off of a true story. And I think whenever you just see like a big corporation being taken down in the name of the little guy, that's always, I mean, it's formulaic, sure, but again, because it's Julia Roberts, then you know what? Yeah, fuck yeah, Julia Roberts, take these people down. Go out there and fight for the little guy. She's going door to door and talking to people. She memorizes every single thing about these clients, and goes out of her way to show that her worth when she is in a field that, of course, is like very competitive. It's cutthroat. It's tough. People obviously were already looking down on her because of who she was, how she dressed, how she talked, all of that. And it's nice, there's David versus Goliath stuff on multiple levels, not with just the corporation versus the people, but also Erin versus this again, this is the other law firm that comes in a little bit later. And you know what? That works when like I said, is it formulaic and repetitive? Sure, but you know what? It worked very, very well here.
It did, and Julia Roberts, being the powerhouse that she is the highlight of this movie. Like, whenever I'm going to recommend this movie to somebody, it's going to be so you can experience Julia Roberts' performance. But my third takeaway, to add on to all of that, is Albert Finney, who plays Ed. I think Erin and Ed's relationship is the backbone of this movie. They play off of each other so well. I don't know what it is with Julia Roberts working well with men in their late 60s or 50s or whatever age they are, but she does a really good job. She's really good at it. And that banter, again, where with Richard Gere, obviously, that rom-com, this is such a different dynamic, but she does such a really great job playing opposite of her male counterpart, and her male counterpart in this film is Ed. And they really do work as a dynamic duo, even though she's clearly the lead in this. I think they play off of each other really well, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring him up specifically, because I think he added a lot of levity. He also added a lot of humor. He gave us that little middle ground of like what was going on and what his role to play in all of this would be. And he was an important part of not only the story, but the film's dynamic that really worked for me in the end. So definitely a big shout out here for a movie that I'm not shouting off the rooftop about supporting cast. He definitely deserves his flowers for this one. He very much was equal parts of the backbone of this movie.
Yeah, late great Albert Finney, rest in peace. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this, didn't win, but still got the nomination. And yeah, you're right. Like you said, he was a really good person to play off of when it came to Erin's character. It was a really, really fun relationship. Also did a good job at keeping her grounded, but while also like supporting the mission that they were going after, but also making sure that she understood like the levity of what they were actually doing, because like they're big stakes. Like, it's not as easy just saying, hey, I got 400 signatures in a dream, let's go get these people. It's a lot of, hey, we're a small firm, we need to bring in a bigger firm, this is how these things work, this is how I appreciate your work, but I also need you to take care of yourself. There was a lot of that there too. Obviously the great scene at the end with the bonus check, which is also an accurate portrayal of what she received for her work. She actually got a bigger bonus check than what was actually shown in the movie. So yeah, listen, no one's gonna really like sit here and champion lawyers all the time, but as far as like this story goes, yeah, you're right. Albert Finney, really, really good, and just the perfect person to put counter to her, as opposed to it being like George there the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, this was having somebody that was set in the reality of what goes on in, you know, in the court side of things was good, as opposed to just having Erin run kind of roughshod all over the movie and do whatever she wants. So yeah, good call.
Yeah, and that was really my final takeaway. So I know we're going to get ready to talk about scores, receptions, and then I'm pulling up movies for our segment called More Like This, where we talk about different films that are recommended based off of this film. And Phil, I'm going to be honest with you, there are a lot of these that I don't know if you've seen. So I'm going to try to really rinse that down into ones I know for sure you like or that you've seen. And then I might be throwing some darts in the air. So listen, we might have some air balls, but we're going to try our best. So before we do all that, how did people like this movie? And then what did we think?
Jesus, darts, air balls, pick a sport, man. Jesus Christ.
all of them.
Interceptions, fumbles.
we like sports. We don't care who knows.
Who knows? Erin Brockovich, how was it received? Well, 87% certified fresh tomato meter score, 81% popcorn meter score, still very high on both fronts, 7.5 rating over on IMDb, and holding a strong 3.9 over on Letterboxd. I went a little back and forth with this here. When I finished the movie, feeling really good, of course, about how things ended. I had it at a 4. After about 24 hours, we prolonged this recording a little bit by a day. I dropped it down to a 3.5. Still very, very much loved this movie, but because, again, of some of those things and some of the underdeveloped stuff that we talked about, and maybe, again, some missed opportunities as far as maybe going into explaining a little bit more of what was happening with this actual court case and things of that nature. Dropped it down to a 3.5. It's probably, again, more so of a 3.75 to me, and I could even probably talk back into a 4. So, like, if anybody gives us a 4, I wouldn't be upset about that one bit, but I did land at a 3.5.
Yeah, it's really funny when we go through an episode, we could kind of tell if we're going to land on the same or very similar scores. And what's even funnier is that I had the opposite reaction. I gave this movie, walking out of my first watch through, I gave it a 3.5, and I was considering bumping it to a 4 after the fact if the movie sat with me a little bit longer and I really felt differently upon maybe like a, morning after situation. That did not happen. I woke up the next morning. I said, no, a 3.5 feels pretty right. So I'm actually pretty firm in my 3.5, although that's the same score that I gave, that you gave. Mine was pretty firm from the get-go, and I feel really solid that this movie didn't hit the highs of Pretty Woman for me, but rarely anything will. Rarely anything will. And, I've just got to accept my truth. Erin Brockovich, probably her strongest performance that I've ever seen, but there's something about that Pretty Woman character that I just really enjoy the most, and I just can't overlook. So I did hold it against this movie just a smidge.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a moot question. So who is higher on the list here? Is it Vivian or is it Erin? Which one did you prefer?
As a character, I mean, it's closer than the scores of the movies reflect. So the score of Pretty Woman, 4.5, Erin Brockovich, 3.5. Pretty big margin difference in a whole point, which a whole point for me is like a whole different type of movie. But as far as the characters, like, they're 1A, 1B. I could really enjoy one over the other. I'm going to give it to Vivian a little bit, because that's like my first, I hold a soft spot, but like any day, Erin Brockovich, you could put her right over. She was so fucking fun in this movie. She was so good.
Really cool. Really, really cool for sure. Let's get to our rankings here, where this lands on our late to the party before we go to More Like This. For me, Eric, I have this at number 26 out of 44 films. It is right behind movies like Top Gun, Nope, and Edge of Tomorrow, and right before films like The Bad Guys, Adventures of Tintin for me.
Yep, we landed right at the same point, pretty much. Film number 25 out of 44 for me. Right behind movies like Top Gun, Prey, and Klaus, and above movies like Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Nope, and The Bad Guys.
There we go. All right, Eric, what did you find for us to shoot baskets at to try and hit a bullseye and a strike for?
Okay. Well, you know what? You don't have to make it that big of a deal. So, I mean, yeah, we both would watch Pretty Woman over this based off of our scores. That's an easy one. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or Miss Congeniality?
Miss Congeniality. I love Miss Congeniality.
So good,
Sandra
right?
Bullock, man.
Dude.
Boy, talk about a powerhouse. I love Sandra Bullock. Now, put Erin Brockovich and Miss Congeniality into a movie together. We're talking crossover.
We are. You mentioned this earlier, so I'll just throw it out there. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or Mona Lisa Smile?
Definitely Erin Brockovich. I hated Mona Lisa Smile.
I figured just throw it out there. Very interesting that you brought this up. This is on the Letterboxd similar films. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or The Burial?
Erin Brockovich. The Burial is very good. I also gave The Burial 3.5, and it's worth watching for sure. A really good, like, straight to streaming movie that definitely didn't need to be in theaters, but a really good time. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. You never watched Marriage Story, right?
No, I need to.
No, you definitely need to. Okay, so that is out there. Okay. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or Legally Blonde?
Erin Brockovich. If we're talking Legally Blonde musical, then maybe it's a little bit more of a difficult discussion. But yeah, we'll go Erin Brockovich over. Yeah, that's tough though.
I got to keep that up and give that a rating for sure. I don't think either of us have rated it on Letterboxd, so yeah, gotta fix that.
Shout out to Elle Woods though.
Oh no, for sure. Go. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or The Social Network?
The Social Network. Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of them. That's one of them.
That's one of them.
Whenever you see that behind the scenes shot of Andrew Garfield slamming the fucking laptop down, you watch it every time. You just stop and watch.
This is where Letterboxd might have gotten broke a little bit, because like sometimes shows are included. So I don't know why this one is here. So again, different medium, but for entertainment purposes only. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or She-Hulk? Why's that on here?
Erin Brockovich 3 or 4 times. You know? And as somebody who enjoyed She-Hulk just fine, I know people got upset with it. I think it's just fine. I would have loved to see Tatiana Maslany return, but that's probably not happening. Erin Brockovich 4 times.
I'm not going to ask you about The Devil's Wear Prada. It's going to just save us time there. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or You've Got Mail?
Those are 2 different.
I know. I'm surprised to see it here. Mail.
We're not going to pass on Meg Ryan and Tom
If
Hanks.
it makes you feel any better, talking about much different movies, although I don't know, I guess, because I've never seen this, we could talk about Erin Brockovich or The Diary of a Mad Black Woman with Tyler Perry Madea in here.
We don't have to do that.
Do you want to?
We don't have to talk about Tyler Perry.
I don't know how similar they are, but according to Letterboxd, they're very similar.
Yeah, no, we can pass.
Okay, last one. Actually, we got 2 more here. Last one that doesn't make sense, maybe. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or Forrest Gump?
Forrest Gump. Yeah,
Why is that on here? Would you
Did
rather
Julia Roberts
watch...
and Tom Hanks do a movie together ever? I feel like that's a dumb question. It would be pretty obvious if they did. Did they?
No, I don't know that, actually, off the top of my head. If they did...
They did.
Larry,
they did too.
Larry Crown?
And Charlie Wilson's War. I've heard of Charlie Wilson's War. I've never seen
I've seen the poster for Larry Crown. Huh. Okay. Well, way later in their careers than I would have thought. Okay. Last one, Phil.
35% Rotten Tomatoes, 2.7 on Letterboxd. Yeah, that's probably going to stay.
Do this.
It's going to stay where it is.
Last one. Would you rather watch Erin Brockovich or Honora?
Oh. How dare you? Yeah, I still have pretty rose-colored glasses for Honora. We'll see how that movie ages and how we feel about it, but it's still Honora for right now. Mikey Madison has my heart, so...
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the film where most people that I'm friends with on Letterboxd have rated. The only person who has it rated less than a 4.5 is Jay, who gave it a 3.5. And said it's just... Yeah, he said, it's just a 5-minute walk, I swear. That was his review. So... Yeah, I gave it a 4. I think a 4 is where it will probably stand the test of time for me. I do think rose-colored glasses is a good way to describe that movie. I really like it. I want to watch it a second time to see if I'm going to be steadfast in that opinion, but very good movie. Very great movie. But yeah, 4.5, 5 territory. I didn't quite get there for me. And neither did Erin Brockovich. So that is my more like this from Letterboxd and IMDb.
Where has Mikey Madison been? Oh, she's got a couple of things in production, but she hasn't really done anything in a while, has she?
No.
I'll never forgive myself for the first year that I went to Scared/Spookala. I don't know if I ever told you this, but she was there as a guest because she's in Scream, and she had no line because people hate her character in Scream. And of course, this is pre-Honora, and I'm kicking myself now for I liked her character in Scream. But I didn't know enough about the Scream films to go up and approach her. But man, knowing what I know now, missed opportunity.
Yeah. We missed our opportunity to tag team Julia Roberts.
Okay, hold on.
We missed our opportunity for Mikey Madison.
We're not tag teaming anybody
Yet.
Although, to all of our kings out there watching, if no one's told you this, great balls, man.
Yeah, really no way to explain that more
no
to you
context
guys.
for that whatsoever.
No. Phil, I think there's no more masculine way to end this episode.
We would need an editor eventually for them to put together a set of clips for when we hit the wall for an episode.
Just out of context, yeah. One day we'll be there.
And for this one, it would be great balls, man.
Yeah.
Just great balls.
Gosh. All right. Well, guys, that was our thoughts on Erin Brockovich. And yeah, we are
I'm sorry.
Very happy we saw that. We've been hyping this movie up for a year, to be fair. So that also had something working against it, I think, in my opinion. Where with Pretty Woman, we were like very fresh eyes on that from when we were like interested in watching it. Cause like we were seeing clips around that time. I've been seeing clips of Erin Brockovich for like a year now. So yeah. I was, speaking of which, my last little like throwaway comment, a lot of the clips I had seen were from the first like 30 to 45 minutes of the movie. So I was starting to get like concerned. I was like, oh, are all the good clips in the beginning of this movie? Luckily that wasn't the case. There was a lot more of the movie to enjoy, but yeah, about 30 minutes in, I was like, oh, that's like 4 or 5 different moments that I've definitely seen clips of.
Yeah, all those clips, and I didn't even know, I had no idea Aaron Eckhart was in this movie. So that's also shows
You've really never seen the how many numbers scene?
No.
You hadn't seen that scene prior?
Mm-mm.
I will say him dropping to the ground, I thought was a blooper. I didn't know that was in there. So when he dropped, I was like, oh. Yeah.
Nope, had no idea. Him and his bad wig. Honestly, may have held it back from before. Maybe it's the wig. That's
the
what
letterbox
happened,
review.
Yeah.
Would have been a 4,
wig.
maybe
Would've
it's the
been
wig.
4 if not for Aaron Eckhart's wig. So yeah. Well, that is what we thought of Erin Brockovich. Like Eric said, very happy we finally got to it. Obviously, a tentpole film when it comes to the Julia Roberts watch list. As we continue to make our way through her films. But if you'd like to see some other films, TV shows, other things, pop culture that related that we like to discuss here in the Way Forward podcast, and you need a reminder of where to find all of that, it's in the Linktree link in the show notes of this and every single episode. You can support us over on Instagram, TikTok, joining our growing Discord community, following us over on Twitch, where we stream every other week. And you can also head on over to YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. The typical YouTube drill. Make sure to follow me and Eric on our personal pages as well. Eric is streaming weekly a ton over on his personal Twitch channel. And of course, I am chasing my voice acting journey. Have a couple of projects releasing very soon. One that's probably out right now at the time of this episode releasing. So very excited for everybody to hear that. And of course, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Give us 5 stars. One of the best ways you can support the show. But if you want to know how you can get involved a little bit more with the behind the scenes of the podcast, maybe getting episodes early or even having a hand in the content that we put out, Eric will let you know a little bit more about that before wrapping us up.
Yeah, so of course all the free stuff that Phil mentioned is great, but as we always say, if you want to go a little bit beyond just the free stuff to support us and go that extra mile, you can become a patron, where members like Briar, T3 Cato, Vintage, Corey from The World Is My Burrito, Nick Casbaro, the author of the Vitalarium series, and Botter from the Shortbox podcast are supporting us monthly as well, in exchange for behind the scenes and early access to episodes like this one. But if you aren't able to support that way, again, everything that Phil mentioned goes a long way in keeping the show going and is very much appreciated. That being said, my name is Mr. Eric Almighty. That is my co-host, Phil the Filipino. And please don't forget, we release new episodes every Wednesday for the podcast. And all you have to do is wait for it.
This is the Wait For It podcast.